To begin with, the script I created for the preliminary task shown here was very basic and didn't use the correct format, meaning it was hard for my actors to understand the dialogue. So to remedy this, I based my opening sequence script style off of the Shawshank Redemption script, making the final product easier to follow with a more professional appearance as well. Moving on, I didn't create a storyboard for my preliminary task, which meant many of the shots I took on the day of filming didn't reflect what I actually wanted the scene to portray. Therefore, by making this storyboard and planning for the opening sequence, I was able to visualize and thus execute my shots far clearer with this point of reference. So now moving on to criticisms of my preliminary movie and then the progression into my opening sequence. The next clip shows how the equipment I used in the prelim was incorrect, as I used an older video camera and thus struggled to keep the shot in focus. Again, a lack of equipment was apparent in the prelim when the POV from the car is uncontrollably shaky. This could have been avoided by using a stabilizer on the camera. I learned from this mistake and used a stabilizer for all my handheld shots in the final product. This part of the prelim shows the lack of planning, as I didn't account for the weather outside, which in turn affected the lighting of two of my shots. It changed the coloration between two sequential shots in the same setting. So that meant I would have to color grade in editing, which is inefficient time-wise. I solved the lighting problem in my opening sequence by moving to a simpler and closed space or setting, and this meant I could control the lighting by two switches and the weather would not affect the lighting at all, as seen in the next clip. This next screenshot taken from the prelim shows when the realism of the film is shattered, as the continuity is broken. As you will see in the rearview mirror, a grown man is driving and not the younger actor who we previously see getting into the driver's seat of the car. This only became apparent in late editing. So to avoid such mishaps in the final product, I used a detailed shot list to ensure the realism wouldn't be broken by a filming error. A final progression from the preliminary task to the opening sequence was the establishing shots. I didn't take any establishing shots in my preliminary task, and I made sure to do so in my opening sequence as I feel it lent more context and professionalism to the succeeding events. So this is an example of one of the establishing shots. A final progression from the preliminary task to the opening sequence was the establishing shots. I didn't take any establishing shots in my preliminary task, and I made sure to do so in my opening sequence as I feel it lent more context and professionalism to the succeeding events. So this is an example of one of the establishing shots.